Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Emma, it's the cat swim. Janeane won't stop talking, so I'm just going to start this
sorry.
Hello and welcome to the Dork Forest. This is Jackie Kashian. You know the websites, JackieKashian.com, DorkForest.com. That is a giant swan. You're correct. Anyway, so Patrick Brady's going to fix this audio, and Mike Rickberg just sang that song with Sarah. He's going to sing again at the end, and Vilmos does the websites. Donate, buy stuff, and go out and affect change at a grassroots level. And beginning now, welcome to the program, Janeane Garofalo.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Thank
Excellent.
you.
I have a giant cup of coffee.
And I have a giant Red Bull.
You have the tallest tall
This is the 20-ouncer. I don't think they have a bigger one. If they did, I have yet to find it.
I had a 30-ounce coffee that I could have possibly purchased at this Starbucks. This is an iced coffee here.
It's nice. It's a good size.
I received in the mail from Marlena, I can't remember her last name offhand, 2 giant Starbucks mugs that said St. Louis Starbucks on them, each with a Starbucks card inside, and a note that said, please give one of these to Maria Bamford. So I called Maria Bamford, also here at the program. Sure.
Also has a name drink after her. A drink named after her.
In Austin at the
In Austin.
We gotta go have booze later.
It's called the Tsunami.
It's called the Tsunami, and it has some vodka, and it says, yes, I'll join your cult.
And
on
I
the bottom of
wonder
it.
what's the back end on this? You know,
Well, that's what your people need to negotiate. You got to be fiscally prudent, Maria. In this economy, you're not going to get a kickback. Listen, we are living longer, people. We cannot depend on our 401ks and our pensions.
No.
It's almost Dickensian the way that the old people can suffer. The suffering.
Yeah.
what I hope is that this will be the beginning of a cooperative that we can build for our elder years. That we grow together, that we can take care of each other, because obviously, our government is falling to pieces.
Right.
So
The stores are still open.
Yeah.
For the moment, they are.
That's what her mom told her.
But you know what? Not every store is still open. Have you been to Baltimore?
The entire
I'm
city
surprised
of
Baltimore's still open.
You can't get gum in Baltimore. That's how protected Baltimore is. Oh my gosh.
Maria, why don't you sit closer?
Well,
it's gonna audio-wise, it's gonna sound.
It's just like I felt because I thought I didn't want to. I didn't want to
horn in.
I know you feel anxious, and usually you are always very calm, and this is unusual for you to be. It's unusual. I've never seen Maria like this before.
It's going through this thing, and
I think you'll get over it. I think it'll all come together.
Oh God, the set. I was telling Jackie, it's always the opener who's comforting me before the show.
The guy who's been doing stand-up for like a year and a half.
Well, that's because that person doesn't know what it can be like yet. They'll get there, but only after a year and a half, you think it's going to be great.
They haven't.
You become less confident as it goes on.
Yes. Once you go to your millionth condo and have to spend the first day cleaning it before you can lie down.
Oh, it's worse than a cruise. The comedy condo, the bacteria. It's worse than an airplane bathroom. I find
I won't do it anymore.
I haven't for years had to stay in a comedy condo, and not because I'm past it. It's just I'm willing to pay for my own hotel room.
Yeah. Do you know what that means? You're past it.
Well, no, that's a personal decision, though. I'm past it.
And yes, a personal decision on my own grounds as well. I'm more than willing. I will break even. You better. I have to want to do your gig if it has a condo.
I'm willing to lose money because not safe. First of all, security-wise, those condos are not safe.
It doesn't.
And there's been times when you're in it, and then at 2:00, another comic you weren't aware of that was staying there as well with you
will just show up.
And be as chagrined as you are that there's another person there. Oh, yeah. So then there's that tension in the room.
Do you have the worst condo story? What do you got?
Oh, I just have your garden variety.
You got a garden. The only one that was bad where there were other comics was South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, MC on the Couch, I was the feature in my own room and the headliner, and they partied, and I didn't want to for some reason, even though it was the 90s. For some reason, I didn't want to party with these two dirtbags. And at 2 in the morning, they show up, shit-faced, and start bang. They're like, "Get up and party with us, Jackie." And I had locked the door, and I had moved a chair in front of the door.
Because they were going to rape you.
One would hope.
They were going to wake me up, is what they were going to make me
I want to feel
drink.
attractive again.
I know. The sense of rejection. This is what I'm talking about. When you say to Comedy Con with two very drunk openers and features, and they don't even make an attempt to sexually assault you, this is how your confidence gets sapped.
Oh, my God.
At least walk around in your underwear around me.
I know. Give me a chance.
It makes me feel uncomfortable in some way.
Right. Because there's nothing I want more in 1994 than a 47-year-old, really pot-bellied dude walking around.
Hey, 47 is not old.
Yeah.
I'd like to say
no,
that.
it can't be. It can't because I am 47.
So I'm just saying, back then there's people. I used to, and I was thinking about this yesterday. I was walking in Austin, just wandering. I know you discussed that you were wandering alone, which is actually my favorite thing. I am very comfortable alone a lot, and I love in any city just walking with no plan. And I also like to try and find a bead store. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, we got to do beads.
But I walked past a gentleman, like a businessman, who was sometimes I get very attracted to the exact opposite of my lifestyle and my peer group. And this was just like a standard handsome guy with a suit and a briefcase. And I remember in my mind, I like older guys. And I was thinking, wait a second. This guy's younger than you. You can't keep saying that you like older guys, because at this point for me it means guys in their 60s or 70s, because I'm 49. So I'm still in this mindset of I like older guys, in their 30s or what have you. I'm
exactly, because
way older than these older guys, quote unquote, that I am attracted
like the
to.
oldest guy in the world. We're like, that guy probably has a job.
No, it felt substantial, and Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead. Say what you will, I actually love him, and he's very funny, and he knows.
Who do you speak of?
Lemmy Kilmister of the band Motorhead.
Oh, there you go.
And he used to be in a band called Hawkwind, but he's like this iconic. Ace of Spades is one of the songs that you would probably know. He said this about women in general, and I'm not. I don't like grand narratives, but he did say he was raised by women primarily. His mother and his grandmother raised him, and he said, "Here's in a nutshell: women want security. Ultimately, they want the same things in the beginning that men do: had spontaneity, sexuality, fun, drinking, whatever. But ultimately, they just need a sense of security." And I was thinking, boy, out of the mouths of Lemmy, that's it in a nutshell. I do think gender-wise, most women, there is something that fundamentally, and your attraction to older men, this was my original point, the older guys thing, when you're younger, I think stems from, it seems that the older gentleman is more stable.
And that they'll stick around.
And that they'll stick around more.
But that, of course, is not always true.
Oh, right. It's case by case. It doesn't matter the age or the person, but I think that is what attracts, I think. And also, girls tend to mature at a faster rate, emotionally, mentally, all those things. Just naturally. That's not a criticism of males. It's just, I think, a biological imperative.
It's like saying boy energy about little boys and little girls, is that little boys... who I enjoy hanging out with, kind of more than little girls, because they just want to run around and shoot each other and have a good time. And little girls want to sit in a corner and rebuild the world and standardize.
I prefer that. I like sitting. When I'm babysitting things, I enjoy a child, boy or girl, that likes to sit.
When you're babysitting things, I enjoy that.
Babysitting things and/or children.
Things and/or children.
I enjoy a more stationary child.
I like to babysit a full cable set. Like when somebody has HBO and Showtime.
Oh, I definitely would like Dish TV to be a part of it.
If DirecTV with I don't even watch the NFL, but I want the NFL packet available. So what the heck, right? So I can just... You know that 2 days ago was the NFL draft, and for about 3 or 4 seconds, when it was on Twitter and all this stuff, I was like, has the draft been reinstated?
Like you thought it was military.
Yes.
The only reason I know about the draft is because I was channel surfing and saw it.
Less than 10 seconds, but I did fall for it briefly.
The only way I found about it is because they called me and they said, Maria, you need to get in the game.
Maria, literally, you are now on the Green Bay Packers.
And I was like,
You guys, I'm afraid of the ball. And they're like, but you can run, Bamford. You can run.
She's got speed. Here's the thing about Bamford, because she's frightened a lot and skittish, she's got speed. We can use that. That is her greatest asset. Her neuroses is her greatest, on the field, in the game, it's her greatest asset.
Break the block.
She's lean, she's wiry, she will move quickly because she always wants out.
Yeah.
So.
That's so true. I don't. Oh, goodness.
I feel the same way. Whenever when I get to somewhere, even if I want to be there, I am looking forward to release.
Yeah.
Like I can walk out of this room eventually, even if it's something I'm enjoying a great deal. I just want to. I need to be by myself.
Yeah,
I just need to be by myself.
Solo time.
And I used to love walking by myself for a long. I used to, and then I don't know what's happened.
The longest of all walks you like to do a solo walk? I used to love it myself.
I love a solo walk, and then I don't know if my. I don't know. Now I'm totally about getting with other people. Maybe it's my. I don't know. I guess
Maybe the social skills are coming together.
social skills. Sure.
But walking in a group is cumbersome. Walking in a group, they walk too slow.
Yeah.
And they
you can't talk to everybody.
they make decisions about going places and taking turns you don't want to take.
Right.
It sounds like I'm being metaphorical, like Life of Pi. I'm not. I mean, literally, in a group when people walk, like, hey, let's walk down Congress Street to the food trucks and stuff. We're here in Austin, which is where we are.
Right.
The rate it takes in a group to do that, not only the meeting in the lobby, how long that takes, everybody in their phones and texting, and all that nonsense. I can't take it.
About a food truck.
Please do.
I don't like it. I don't want to eat on the street like some sort of animal. I want to sit down like a lapsed Christian and have someone come up and ask me what I want to drink, and then give me a menu, and then.
Apparently, you are not up on the food truck revolution that's happening. There are picnic tables out of
I'm
doors,
over it.
fairy lights strung.
Sure, but there's a lot of curb sitting. A lot of curb sitting with a taco going.
Oh,
in
I
your
like
jug
that.
bowl.
I actually like that. Not in this heat, but I do enjoy a curb sit for my cigarette and for street food.
It is nice because it's pretty much the only
I like
place
sitting
you
on
can
the
still
curb.
You eat and smoke. It can happen with a food truck.
Yes.
It can't happen in a restaurant. So
Right.
as a smoker, you might enjoy that.
I do.
It's true.
And
Okay.
it is fast. It is fast. Yeah.
And it is.
And
it
we've
feels
talked about your
friendly.
speed.
Yeah.
Fast is the way she wants it.
Yeah, that's how I want to get in.
That's
get
why
out,
she's on the
and
Green
get
Bay
back to
Packers
worrying.
right now.
Exactly.
And she's also been drafted into the military, too.
Yeah,
So there was that aspect.
Sure.
It's a weird thing.
Air Force.
The
You
thing
know why?
is,
Because they call it the Chair Force. You get to sit.
Is that what that's called for real?
They refer to it as not the Air Force themselves. Other branches of the government, the service, call it the Chair Force.
Oh, it's like
They
good-natured
sit a lot.
ribbing betwixt military-industrial
between
complex.
Yes, between the military folk. Were you guys encouraged to join the military ever?
Absolutely not. My, they're back because I'm old enough when it was okay to still target in high schools recruiting for the kids that were not on the quote unquote college track. I've just said quote unquote twice now in this brief interview that we're doing.
Right, we haven't even
but
gotten
the
the beads
VOTech
yet.
kids in my high school, which is vocational, meaning they weren't going to college in the suburbs that I grew up in.
because they had actual skills.
And they were considered back when there was sharper class divisions, from people's parents who grew up in the 40s and 50s, as mine did. College track and non-college track. My parents also were. My mom did not go to college. My father was literally the first to get past the 8th grade in his family. Now, this sounds odd to some people. I'm talking. My parents are, my mom has passed, but my
you grow up in
father's is late
California?
70s. I grew up in New Jersey and Houston.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
But so in their world, you must go to college. They believed that that's the answer to bettering oneself. It is and
was
it
a
isn't. It's
generational
just a
thing,
generational thing, and it was for people from the 40s and 50s and so forth. That was vitally important, especially if they hadn't had higher education. If their children have higher education.
Yes.
So in my high school, there would be kids that were called non-college track kids, and they tended to be more working class, and they went to VOTech, vocational training.
Yeah.
The military recruiters would come to school and only speak to them. Do you see what I mean? It's a very offensive thing, actually. And my parents would make certain, because at one point I said, there was a recruiter for the Navy today. I overheard the recruiter pitching to the VOTech kids, and I said, that sounds exciting. And my mom was adamant that no, that's not for you. That's not for you. You're going to college. That's not for kids like you. And like I said, she hadn't gone to college, and she was very self-conscious about that. And her parents were, she's first generation, as is my father.
Right.
And they grew up both very poor in the Bronx. And those things were vitally important to that generation.
So you were actively discouraged from joining the service.
Actively discouraged, and also...
So were either of your parents in the service? Was your dad in the service?
No. My like I said, my father was the first to aspire to
above a higher education.
To a higher education, and he put himself through school. He worked as an apothecary's assistant, and his nickname was Apothecary Mike. Isn't that hilarious?
The greatest nickname ever.
His name is Janeane Garofalo, but his middle name is Michael, and he goes by Michael to be more American. He wanted to be more Americanized. And so he went to Columbia, which also he even felt more out of place. And he was working and putting himself through and living at home.
Right.
And his nickname was Apothecary Mike, which has always cracked me up. That's a sidebar, and I'm sure your audience is asleep by now.
They are not. They are fascinated because they are rangers of the Dork Forest, and they wish to hear minutia. They love detail.
And the tattoos, actually my mom died when I was younger. No. When I got my first tattoo, which everyone has now, but I got my first one in Houston, actually, when I was 18, and this was in around 1982, 83, when it wasn't as usual for people to have. I got a teeny tiny one, and my father was beside himself because he felt it was a slide back. And he even said, "You look like a longshoreman," like what you would call a longshore, like somebody who works at the docks.
Yeah,
that's who gets a tattoo, and kids that don't go to college. He was so upset.
What'd you get?
I got a little teeny tiny star on my calf. And also I can't give blood because back when I started getting tattoos, you didn't have to use disposable needles. And I got my first tattoo at a place called Shaw's in Houston by a gentleman wearing a gun who kept saying, "Stop moving, stop moving." And he was a very threatening gentleman. And then I got a couple others there. And then as it turns out, this is prior to the mandatory needle, using clean needles and stuff. It was just that... He was using this needle on it and everybody. So luckily for me, I can't give blood because actually I'm so thankful to have an excuse not to give blood because it makes me pass out. And it's the right thing to do to donate blood, but I'm so thankful that I don't have to when you should.
I was just telling Maria
because
that I went to donate blood. And they ask you very detailed questions about your sex life and about ever going to Africa. And then they ask you, have you ever been in prison or in jail for more than 72 hours? Which makes me go, if we know what's happening in jail after 72, let's stop that. If we are aware that after 72 hours, horrible things are happening, someone get the...
You could say that about almost every single thing socially in this world. We're very aware of the incarceration. Incarceration is particularly awful in this country, and the privatization of the prison system.
More and more now.
There is nothing but misdeeds going on at the juvenile level, and for-profit prisons are the worst. And there are so many things, though, in this country you could say that about. We are totally aware of
all the problems,
all the injustices, and doing nothing about it. And it's the American way.
Well, it's the next thing that's going to happen is it's going to be free internet. Let's talk about beads.
Beads.
Janeane Garofalo, beadist.
Beads. I love beads. I love making jewelry.
When did that happen?
I started with my love of beading probably around 2000, maybe. I just there was a number of.
Have you always been crafty?
No.
Okay.
It was just something like I went into this store when I was in New York once, and it was a bead store, but the good kind, not just shiny, round, plasticky things. I'm talking about like indigenous beads and like quality, unique beads and Native American, Tibetan, all kinds of stuff, Guatemalan, and beautiful cords and different leathers and things. And I started to become fascinated with just spending hours in different bead stores, and then it became my thing for any city when I was doing stand-up. I try and find their bead stores. Now, it's unusual to find ones that are very good. Usually they're just your standard issue kind of corny beads, but I still will hope to find some buried treasure.
Yeah.
And also just it's a utopian community in a bead store.
They're oftentimes in strip malls next to comedy clubs.
Oh, yeah. No, a strip mall bead store is usually not what you want, unless you get very lucky. I'm talking about like off the beaten path. But and they always have names like Let It Be. Don't worry, bead happy. Now those are awkward. I don't like things like that. But you know what? It's not my place. But there are some that like these bracelets I have made, and I'm not. I don't have any talent at making jewelry. I just like stringing beads. And there's these are just. There's nothing really special about any of these other than these particular red ones I'm a fan of. They're called White Hearts. And I like very blood red ones and matte ones. And a lot of them, older ones, are handmade and then cooled in sand. That's why they have a matte finish. And they're not all the same size or shape. I don't like beads that are uniform. Hand. They're made by hand. And
because beads can be mass-produced, obviously.
Oh, yeah,
right?
of course.
And that is, and are most beads that you see in life mass-produced?
Mass-produced, right.
Yeah, and that's made by small young ladies.
Like with tiny hands.
With tiny hands.
Beautiful tiny hands.
Under a lot of pressure to make the most important beads for the American people.
The level of artistry. But there's some...
suffers.
In New York, especially, New York provides opportunity for many, many interesting things.
New people, yes.
But there's a lot of great bead and jewelry stores in New York and Portland and Seattle.
In Koreatown? Or?
Oh, no, they're all over. There's a lot of mainstream mass ones, too, in Midtown.
Okay.
But there's ones that have, like, beads, Afghani, Pakistani, like Indonesian.
Are they secrets?
No.
Okay.
Anyone?
What's a good one?
I like, there's one on Rivington, which is it's called like Afghan something. It's on Rivington and near Stanton in Lower East Side, and there's Beads of Paradise. Then there was a one I loved so much near my apartment that's gone now. They had the best wax cord that this guy's wife would make by hand. This waxed cord.
A waxed cord. So
for the bead.
There's a string, and then someone has hand put wax.
It's just however she did it, and it makes the cord malleable and bendable, and then also just incredibly durable. No matter how many showers you take. The beads slide on better, and the ends don't fray of the cord as you're beading.
And she made them. The woman
she would make this cord, and then he would also make it his business to find the most interesting beads from sub-Saharan Africa and so forth.
Okay,
that place is gone now.
Right.
And then I was just in Portland and Seattle, which, as you would imagine, and Olympia and stuff have. I mean, what? They're not going to have a great bead store, Maria? What?
No.
I mean, come on. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the Pacific Northwest and not find a great bead store? I mean, it's not just about serial killers. They've got bead stores.
No, they've got bead stores. Strippers need strings.
Right, and
to beat it up.
And like I said, there's a lot of serial killers in the Pacific Northwest. We all know this, and it's because of the former glory of the lumber trade and the sawmill, but also the weather. It can bring you down. It rains and then it's sunny, and then they need to tan. They need to get a light bulb and a fun top and listen to some wonderful pop music. I mean, what could it hurt? It might save the lives of a stripper or a sex worker or a random young lady on her way home from work. If this gentleman would just go tanning, it would elevate his mood.
Oh God! If they would have sex offenders
tanning or just light bulbs or just fun tops, like a fun shirt. You know what I mean? Like a brightly colored. We were discussing this. Would it kill you to wear a brightly colored top every once in a while? You're wearing a nice bright colored top, Maria.
You are too. Wait, look at there, under there. You got it.
This is the jog bra that I wear for a bra. I like to wear jog bras for bras. I don't jog.
You don't jog, but you enjoy a jog bra?
I just enjoy a pullover jog bra. Especially when they come in interesting colors, and then I wear my dark tops with an interesting colored jog bra. Yeah,
I love colors. Like, do you ever when you make your bracelets? Like, are they what's your favorite one that you have on right now?
Oh,
red.
These are, actually the favorite one I have on now, I guess, is this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that is, and also
I like
matte.
These blue beads. These are matte. Yes, I like a matte bead.
You don't like a shiny bead.
Every once in a while, I'll
Bamford.
take a shiny like that one. Okay. This is a handmade one individually, also. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I like a matte bead.
And then is this gold?
This is just like almost like a mainstream thing. These are that's what I'm saying. These are not the best example. These are just like nerd beads from a bad bead store that I think. And then I add these things, these little charms that I can buy. You know what I mean?
Charms.
Also in little the trays.
Charms are also
at
bead stores too, right? Yes,
little charms and things, but I don't want mine to say stuff.
You don't want it to say
unless it's
anything.
like a little Tibetan thing, like.
Like a symbol?
I added this about this little charm. I added this to that necklace right here.
Right. What does it say?
It is a Hindi thing. I don't know, but I'm assuming it's good. They're into good things, right?
Now, all the necklaces that you're wearing, do you wear them all the time?
Yes, I do. Until
tangled.
they are all tangled, I wear them all the time, and then sometimes they break, and then I repurpose them and add them to something else that I've made.
Okay.
None of these have broken yet.
Right, and so you wear those like day and
night. Sleep in them day and night. And that's why that wax cord is so important.
Yeah, because you want a good quality cord that'll last longer. That
stay with me in the shower, and then also I sometimes will just wrap wax cord around my neck with just one bead on it, just to just for a little variety.
It's like I like a bead.
Just one matte bead.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I put the knots in the thing so it can slide around. Is it over here? Is it over here? Now this is the type of fascinating stuff that this podcast is known for. How you don't have multiple podcast awards for this kind of conversation? I do not know.
Conversation. Let me tell you something. You cannot get more detailed. That is an excellent question though about the knotting. I actually have a question about the knotting.
About putting knots in the cord. Yes.
Right, because you have to, because otherwise all of a sudden your beads over your shoulder.
Right. So I place like a knot here or here.
Side. Yeah.
So it can move around, but not
all the way.
Not all the way around. Like
it's still showing.
It will always be showing at some.
That is important.
Somehow.
I genuinely believe that.
Yeah.
Because
Do you sometimes meet other beaders?
I do.
And do you
Excellent
feel
question.
a connection?
I do.
Or do you feel like, oh, these are not my people?
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Depends on it can be both. There's many times where I have, because I spend so long in a lot of these bead stores, and especially if it's in another city, and because there's very few other people usually in these stores.
Right.
What?
They're not the most traffic. There's not a lot of pedestrian traffic in these bead stores, right? And then they also usually have a table in the back where you can sit and make things, should you so desire. You know what I mean? Like they have areas to sit,
like a workspace,
like workspaces, and so sometimes I will sit down and
fiddle and diddle
and usually like I said, there's Wilco playing or the Shins or some other band I enjoy a great deal. We tend to have the same Arcade Fire. We tend to have the same taste in music in any bead store, especially the ones in the Pacific Northwest. And then you just get to talking with the other bead people, and it is like a thing. And then there's a cornier, not corny, I shouldn't say it, a more crunchier granola beadist that their taste is different than mine jewelry-wise, and their taste.
Like they buy like a large bead?
They probably would like a large wooden bead or a large shiny bead.
A repurposed squash.
And their earrings are enormous and brightly colored. It's not a criticism of them I'm not impugning their character.
No.
That is not usual. Or like their jewelry looks like maybe a university professor who's teaching a women's studies course at Evergreen.
Yeah.
Or at Vassar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a heavy, chunky necklace or something. That and a long flowing dress skirt.
Felted vulva.
Yeah.
What do you think about a peasant skirt? Do you think this could rock a peasant skirt? Because I know that there's some people who like a lady in a peasant skirt.
I like it on some people. I think it looks good.
Some people can rock it.
I agree.
Really make it look good. This always looks like it's about to play hacky sack. And I quite honestly am willing to play hacky sack.
I like a peasant skirt, a t-shirt, and and I hate to say Doc Martens or Converse low tops.
Okay.
But it's got to be that. Other type of shoes and stuff doesn't work for me. Like I love when people wear dresses. When you see a dress with opaque tights and low top Converse. Why the heels? Because I think it's impractical, the heels, and it's pandering to the patriarchy.
Oh, yeah.
And also, when the infected and the walkers come, and they will, you got to move it because the zombies are moving quickly.
Yeah.
So the heels are going to be ridiculous, ladies. And also, the type of fella's attracted to a fine young lady with tights and a dress and low top Converse is the guy you want or the girl you want. This transcends gender.
Okay.
Because a guy who wants somebody who has a disability, who is, hobbled,
not only by the heels but the foot binding in China.
This really, When I'm doing a show out and the phone rarely rings, it's kind of exciting that the phone would ring.
That's an old-timey ring.
That's an old-timey ring.
But that takes me back, Maria. That kind of ring.
That's also from a lady comedian who's very nice. So not that she's also a comedian. She's
Who is
just a
it?
comedian.
Who is
Her
it?
name's Melinda Hill. She's very nice. She was just jangling me.
Oh,
Giving you a jingle?
Yeah, yeah.
did you tell her to come over and talk with us about beads?
Beats.
Here in Austin, Texas.
Now, do you then? Because I have a friend who makes beads, and she does,
I don't make beads. I make.
or yeah, doesn't make beads, but she
Does
makes.
she uses beads?
She uses beads, and she does intricate sort of yoga type, like super like weaving and stuff. Like they're kind of like chandelier.
I like the
type
weaving. I like
things.
mixed media. If you mix material, but it won't hold up in the shower for me. Like you know, what I mean, I've seen.
Yeah, hers do not hold up in the
CJ
shower.
Arabia does that too. You know CJ Arabia?
Yes, of course, yes.
Sure.
She's crafty. Now she
loves to craft.
loves to craft and she's very good at it. And she will mix sometimes yarns and different medium. But her forte is knitting and stuff, and she makes a hell of a cowl. Like it's a thing that you can use as like a scarf hood thing.
weird, like a
CJ
whole-
Arabia. It's like a pullover cowl thing, and also she has made me like a hood with a scarf attached with things for your hands. Like so it turns
wait,
into like a
with
shawl
mittens?
with a hood. Yeah, there's mittens built in.
Whoa.
CJ Arabia, check her out. I'm sure she has a online. You can check her out.
She was over with her fella Mather Zickel.
Mather Zickel, who's a very funny guy and a great actor.
A good actor. And then they came over. We played a little some Settlers of Catan. They enjoy a board game.
They do. I introduced them, and who knew?
Did you?
All these years, yes, I introduced them many years ago, thinking I think they might like each other, and they've been together ever since.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Janeane Garofalo, matchmaker.
I know. So, and it's worked out very
Well
well.
played.
They've been together
At least 6 or 7 years.
at least, and it's since they met.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's neat.
and I introduced Greg Barron to his wife, and look, they're married.
still together.
I know. I'm sure I've introduced people where it's been a disaster, but I can only recall these two good stories.
No, the record is
Exactly.
clear. Now, do you, the way you're processing beating, do you get frustrated? Like, I feel like I have to finish something.
Yes.
Like, I feel
What do
like
you feel like?
I like the feeling of like it's short enough where I can succeed. You know, especially hobby wise.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
with crafts and painting.
Yeah,
and
like
stuff
I just
that?
go. I gotta get it done for the
'Cause you
cleanup.
paint.
Yes.
And then I'm out. Like, because I was doing some painting, but part of the painting was the cleanup process
Right.
that I felt so stressed out about cleaning all the brushes. And so now, so I started usually I would just do it I went to a painting class for kids, and so the cleanup was not my responsibility.
Right. Well, that's how you want to do it, I guess, is have others bust your brushes
Yeah.
and clean them.
Well, I bust them, but I was with another 7-year-olds or 4-year-olds, and so we had to do it together, so it was a group process. It wasn't me alone.
Oh, right. So you're not Jonathan Winters, where you are painting something amazing in your own home, in your studio,
Yeah.
and then
No
responsible for turpentine
interest.
and tarps.
I want
Right, that's too messy. I would be very stressed about that cleanup too because I'm very stressed in tiny ways about being fastidiously clean in my apartment. But the apartment itself is falling
apart. around
It's like
you?
a squad. So I'm hyper vigilant about tiny messes in my apartment to a degree where I cannot relax during the day, especially because also my boyfriend is quite casual about mess. Wonderful guy, great guy, but
Sure.
he has a very casual relationship with
you
cleaning
snap?
up, especially right away. Like he's fine with dishes that sit there forever or leaving a half a sandwich right on the table.
No.
That I cannot stand. I can't stand it, especially with the structure of our apartment being it's so old and there's cracks and things like that. You can't have both. You can't have a apartment that's aging and showing its age and a mess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally. No,
Yeah.
And I'm that way with the beads
one
too. I'm
thing
very
can be
hyper
character.
clean about the beads.
And the other thing so that would be my problem with beads is that they're small sometimes.
Right, I have them in different like Tupperware,
Trays
tons of
and
Tupperware
Tupperware,
containers.
yeah.
That's all organized. Everything's
They're
organized. I
organized.
clean
Okay.
up as I go. But I do, as you were saying earlier, I have to finish, and a lot of times it has to be right.
Yeah.
And I will string and restring, and also I will sort beads. I want all the Guatemalan beads in one container.
Yeah.
I want all the, and I have.
Oh, you do it regionally.
I don't. It gets. I have spent literally entire evenings
Yes.
stringing and restringing, and all because I give the joy stuff I give as gifts many times, or I'll say, some people will do a Kickstarter thing, right?
Okay.
Which I think we should do for the Iraqis.
Oh.
Let's say we say, hey, I'm sorry, do a Kickstarter and get those kids some money in Iraq.
Indiegogo,
I mean, we don't need another indie movie that no one will ever see. Let's help the Iraqis.
We just need $5,000.
I know, for Kickstarter. But sometimes people will
But if
say...
you don't make it, you don't get any of the money. So we got to do it.
I know. I mean, it used to kill me when people say, the Iraqis better step up. How dare you, Bill O'Reilly? How dare you? When we have destroyed these people, not once, but twice. Actually, thrice-fold. The Brits did it earlier. Oh, yeah. And to say, oh, now they got to... I hate that phrase, step up. It's so
Are they
imperialistic.
using it a lot?
Oh, no, it used to be back when we first invaded them for the third time. The second time we did the Brits. Remember, Fox would say, they better step up and start, clean up their own mess. After we've just bombed the grid and destroyed everything in their society. It's just that right-wing nonsense of step up. But I digress.
No, if you need
I have...
Weed off.
I have anxiety, very specific social anxieties and personal anxieties that have increased as I've gotten older, and also since I've been sober, it's increased. But I struggle a great deal with anxiety, and the beads, while being both calming, creates another level of like for the Kickstarter thing. Somebody will say, will you offer this, for this Kickstarter? Like people will say, things, and sometimes friends will say, one of the things is, will you make 20 necklaces for a thing? Yes, but they got to be right. You know what I mean? Like I have to do 20 necklaces, and they all there can't be one that's weaker than the rest. You know what I mean? And it's not saying I make very good, but it's just a personal thing and I want them to all be something I can be proud of. Not like a couple of bum ones in there mixed with good ones, and I want them to look a specific way, and I will string and restring, and I could maybe start at like 7 p.m. one night and not finish until 8 or 9 the next morning, and not because it becomes crazy, and I have back problems, and I have literally had to go to chiropractors and things because I'm hunched over. Sitting Indian style a lot of times,
beating,
chain smoking and beating, and then I have to clean each time I ash in the ashtray. I dump the ashtray. It's crazy. You know what I mean? I will ash an ashtray, get up and dump the ashtray. I don't tend to sit, and that's why I like the curb sitting too. Yeah. It's outside. I can sit and have that cigarette, but indoors because I'm so. Anxious about the mess in my apartment. That's another thing. My boyfriend never has emptied an ashtray. I think in the 12 years we've been together.
He's consistent.
He's consistent, and like I said, he's my best friend. A great guy. He's my best friend.
Right. And he has
it's never going to change. It's never going to change, and I'm not his mother.
Right.
But he has forced me into the position of trying of simultaneously nagging and then doing it myself anyway. Like he's like, I'll get to the dishes. And I'm like, no, now, please, now. And also, you can't leave crumbs around in a New York apartment. There's, there's bugs and cockroaches. And also, we have dogs and we foster dogs. It's chaos.
No, it's chaotic. Yeah,
they can knock over his drink. He'll put a glass of liquid down on the floor.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, he'll kick it over before they can kick it over. Believe me.
I'm more like your boyfriend. I think I
that surprises me.
Yeah. No, I'm more like that. Where I do get angst. I get real angst about being clean. But then there's some parts of it where I just go, oh, that'll be fine. Like I did watch an episode of Hoarders, as we're all watching, and I was like, I did get nervous because I have a sewing machine. I was like, Maria, kick that away, because I tried to do sewing for a while, but again, too much process.
Right.
Too much process, and so I think I need to let that go.
It's because you guys want to. Part of it is that you guys want to do it right.
Yes, I want to, or what I feel is right.
You
right
feel like there's,
in my
I want to be
vision.
done. I also want to be
like getting to the point of view. What we're saying, even no matter when, and this is great. Like I love being here, and I'm so thrilled. I had something to do today. I am anxious about. You know what I mean? Like, and also the smoking, because I smoke so much.
Right.
And I think in terms of, I am really enjoying this. I'm in the moment, but there is a part of me that's like, when can I walk outside again?
What else is happening?
When, and it's not what else is happening, because I don't want to. I like to be alone. You know what I mean? It's just. When can I go to nothing? It's not like I have a plan, but I want to get back to your. I am shocked that you
Or untidy.
That are untidy in any way. I would not have thought about that for you.
I have often.
That's because you're very put together.
Oh,
well, not just that. Your demeanor to me indicates
anxious.
that you would be the type, if you smoked, you would dump the ashtray each time you ash.
No.
There'll be no smoking.
No, well, let's just see. Let me see. My gentleman friend.
Yes.
He was shocked when I just kind of I left some ice cubes on the floor because I thought, well, they'll melt. You know.
Well, that is factually correct. They will melt. They will melt.
He's like, hey,
you're not gonna.
Hey, you're not gonna. And I was like, it's okay. Little lakes.
But also, then you could wipe it when it's water and you've cleaned.
I cleaned.
That's
well,
true.
and I could do that, and I know what clean looks like. My mom was hyper clean. I mean, our home is and still is, or my parents' home is like a hotel.
Show.
It's like a Westin.
Yeah, my parents were the same way. They were hyper clean.
So I know what it looks like. I know, I have 2 dogs, and
You're rebelling.
I think there is some rebellion because I was always like that as a kid. Like I could totally clean up, but also my mom. It was never good, and never was like, well, your room. Well, there's a little bit of dust, So it always just feels like, oh, never mind. There's not even, But no, I am not. I'm a messy. I'm a bit of a messy. And it was funny because gentleman I'm dating, he was surprised by that too. He was like, oh, I thought you were going to be the neat one, and I'm like, nope.
But the thing is, so you can't have 2 though that are messy. 2 being neatniks, I think, will work better than 2 messy people because then it becomes chaos.
Yeah.
And the hoarding thing, which I'm fascinated by, that. Some of that is not hoarding. That's mental. I mean, there are clear pathologies at work there, and clearly that intervention is not equipped in any way to deal with those people.
No, exactly.
And
that's what I was saying.
they do it wrong.
Well, those are segment producers that are encouraging hoarding.
Oh,
not
absolutely. Oh no, I realize that there is the faux reality at play. But there is genuine issues that intervention. First of all, and also with a person like that, like with any addict, you can't give them the power of deciding what stays and what goes. You will never advance the ball. That is nonsense.
Right.
And they will use their power.
Yeah.
And they will throw more tantrums than they even might. And that's not how it. How
you
you're
need
gonna
to go in for 90 days somewhere and have your power taken away from you.
Yes, and you clean up while they're gone.
Yeah.
And if you say you go look through that box that they weren't even aware existed till you showed them that there was this box of stuff, and now I need that broken plate, and I feel like get the animals out first.
Yeah.
They should not have to live that way. And then there's some people who are just straight up lazy. Are you kidding me? This person defecates in a plastic bag, right? They are defecating a plastic bag and literally haven't cleaned clearly.
Right.
That's not hoard. It's garbage. There's some people that hoard trinkets and things, and they have a system.
You guys watch these programs?
I do indeed.
And if also my friends and my friend Marquette and I always go, am I going Grey Gardens here? Am I Grey Gardening it?
I worry about it.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'm fastidious too, because I am frightened of
what is Grey Gardens?
Grey Gardens with the Beals, right?
It's an old documentary about these women or relatives of the Kennedys.
Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy relatives.
Old mansion.
And they were hoarding?
And they were, it was kind of...
They were mentally ill in their own way, and they did a movie on HBO with Drew Barrymore and Jessica Lange. And it was called Grey Gardens, and the documentary is called Grey Gardens.
And they're living with raccoons and...
Oh, they're in that pathology where it's mental... It's an inherited mental problem, which is based in their fears. It's social anxiety writ large for a lot of those people. And because I have impulses in that way, and I think why I get so mad at hoarders is whenever I see myself in others, I hate them for it. Does that make sense? An intervention, my relatives, my own family, when they have behaviors that I see in myself, I'm sorry, I just swore. I come to irrational anger.
Yes.
I realize this, and it's more about my flaws and shortcomings. But in the hoarders, I think why I get so fucking angry, and the same people who on Suze Orman who can't manage their money. I love Suze Orman. I love Suze Orman.
God,
So she's on tonight on CNBC. It's Saturday night, Maria. What is Saturday? No, it's not date night. It's Suze Orman. Now that Oprah's gone, who shall lead us? Suze Orman.
I totally want to go on that show with the How Am I Doing?
I want to sit with her with a Can I Afford It? No, motherfucker, you can't. Are you telling me you want to buy a Gucci bag and you don't have an 8-month emergency fund and you got a baby on the way? How dare you?
Are those segment names?
Yeah.
How am I doing? Can I afford it? Trending topics.
And then
Ask Susie. And then there's kids when the kids,
kids.
can I afford it?
So sweet. And then it's like I see. I love it. She shuts them down. She's like,
I know. She's like, are you kidding me? You cannot afford it. You shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't. She doesn't say her syllables. We were discussing in the lobby. She doesn't say shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't. But also and also when people call and get to the point. Hi, Susie, love your show. Just get to the point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ask your question.
Yeah, we love, and it's always somebody who wants to do something jacked up.
They try and butter her up with, we love, or hey, girlfriend. They try and use her.
Yeah.
Don't try and
liquidate my 401k.
Are you kidding me? I know. And we have $800,000 worth of student loans. We have $60,000 credit card debt. We have a 30-year fixed rate, whatever, and they do that. And we want to buy a vacation home, whatever. You know what I mean?
So
this nonsense of financial. And because I see myself in some of those people, I loathe them for it. And I sit on my couch and go, no, motherfucker, you can't afford it. But I have instincts in that way of, I don't know my money well either. You know what I mean? I'm not financially savvy.
Oh, we were talking about last night. It came up about how much people get paid in comedy. And I thought that
I don't even I don't know about the money. It panics me.
Oh my God, I'm totally into money. I'm totally into numbers. I know all my numbers. And
just writing down of numbers.
I don't know any of it.
I'll tell you all my numbers. I mean, of course, I know.
Transparency is good. I'm a fan of transparency. I think because we don't have a union, and you taught me this, Maria Bamford, is that we have to tell each other how much we're making. It doesn't mean that I should be making what everyone else is making, but it's good to know what to aspire to and what I should not be making. Like I should not be getting $600 a week to headline.
Oh God.
7 shows. I know guys that are doing it. They're doing it at Skyline. They're like, it's $600. It's 5 to 7 shows. It's in Appleton, Wisconsin, and he pays me $600, and then I stay at the condo.
Right, but it's what the market will bear, like any business. That's up to the comic to say either yes, I'll just do it, or no, I won't.
But if what the club owners and what a lot of the bookers encourage is obviously not to tell each other what we're all making.
Right, but the point is
you have to.
People do. I actually am so panicked about money and my future financial security. My unfortunate instinct is I don't want to know. You know what I mean? Which is the absolute worst possible way to do it.
You'll feel so much better if you know what is. Like seriously, like the whole Suze Orman.
Well, I have a financial manager.
Okay, great.
Who I've been with for years, and because she has, and I know her son and everything. I'm going to trust her just because she seems. Okay to me, and actually, she's under the impression I'm more fiscally savvy. I will ask fake questions and use lingo that Suze Orman says and make pretend questions so she thinks I'm reading the statements. I don't know anything about what she said. I hope she doesn't listen to this podcast, but I don't know anything.
You're safe.
And I will ask a question I've heard somebody ask Suze Orman because she thinks that I'm paying attention to my money.
Good.
And then also, I know that my managers and agents are not missing a beat about their commission. They are making sure that so that they can get paid. It's not about me. It's about them. So I'm assuming, well, they're on top of it, right? Because they are not going to miss $1 of a commission on something.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming. But I myself have such fear about my golden years because there's no guarantees in any line of work at all.
No.
But as a comic and somebody who's trying to act, there's no roles for middle-aged lady, you know what I mean? And especially if you're somebody who had success once and is considered a bit of a has-been, people treat that like a contagion. You know what I mean? Like they're like, I can't explain it, and I'm trying to be self-deprecating, but once you had success and it dipped, people are less likely to give you... You need somebody to say it's okay again before you're okay again. I need my... Tarantino, Jackie Brown moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? But failing that, I don't know.
And then it happens again.
And then it'll dip again.
Yeah,
but I've been in like a 12-year dip acting-wise, and it's actually the people that are your friends that could hire you who treat it most like a contagion, oddly. The reprieves will only... It's psychological. It is psychological. They feel like, it happened to her. I'm going to distance myself. Even though you're
just in
still
case.
friends with them socially and stuff, you got to suck it up and not say anything about it.
Right.
And it's worst when maybe you're having coffee or dinner with somebody who's working a great deal, who is in your peer group, who has been for years. You started together. And you did very well in the 90s. Then they took off even further and got more famous in the 2000s. You did not.
Yep.
They distanced themselves professionally, not personally from
Right.
you. But you do this dance of, so how's it going? What are you working on? They will say that to you, knowing full well that it's not going well. And you and I have my pride. So I just say it's fine. I pat it like I do with my dad, my work resume, which I've been doing since I was in college. I still do it when I talk to my father. I pad my resume for my own father.
Oh my God.
And it's a painful dance that you do until. But you know what? In my case, as a female, and as a female who is middle aged, that reprieve may never come. You know what I mean? Like you do
what
just
you
the way
do.
it is.
Yeah, like I mean, we talk about that. You know,
All
I
the
just
time.
go, oh yeah, all the time. Just like, well, I'm always willing to go back to secretarial work. Like, I really.
I have no marketable skills. There is no other job. I will always do stand up.
Yeah.
And if I could fall back in another line of work, I would do it. I don't have any marketable skills.
Yeah.
But you could learn them. I mean, you're not.
No, I couldn't. I'm unbelievably stupid. I'm intellectually curious. I'm intellectually curious, but I'm unbelievably stupid.
It'd be fine.
But also, why me retail? Yes, let's hire the lady who's almost 50, who hasn't had a real job since she was 27.
Right. No, I'm not saying it would be a positive experience. I'm just saying that I'm always of the, because people always say, I couldn't do anything else. And I'm like, you could shovel sand for a living and it all.
Yeah, I could.
That's what I like to see of it. It's not like, oh, I'm a victim that I have to go back to things, but that I have a genuine choice. Like, I'm not a victim of show business.
Right.
Like, I'm not a victim of ageism.
I'm not a victim of,
You know, because like I just go,
you get your GRE done.
I'm in this because I choose to be in this, and you know, if I, you know, that I'm okay, you know, and then I can go into something else. But I love Suze Orman. God, I have a living revocable trust because of her.
Oh yes, a will and living, and I have an emergency fund actually because of her. And that's another thing. Like with my financial advisor, she was so impressed that I asked her. She doesn't watch Suze Orman. Oddly, well, why should she? She's a financial. Her whole business is
Living revocable trust is it's a way you get a will, but then living revocable trust is so you're. Whatever you inherit or you from your a spouse or whatever doesn't have to go through probate, because probate law and
what's the second word you're saying? Living trust.
It's a living will and revocable trust, meaning that there is no way your money can be tied up in the court system after you pass, and it also might pass on somebody who can be a steward of you and your money if you become incapacitated.
So when you die, whoever gets your money doesn't have to go through
all this bullshit and all the money go through tax and all this stuff. Like it goes directly to one other person.
Done and done.
And they never have to go to court.
Oh, okay.
Which is a real, because I've heard people when somebody dies suddenly, because Susie says, hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
But Julie, I like the way she said, what if your husband dies? Like, sometimes she'll be like, we just got married. Well, what if your husband dies? She'll just say it flat out.
Which is awesome.
Which she should say.
Someone should say it.
It happens.
Yeah, someone should
And
say
then,
something.
and then you don't have to go through 9 months when you're mourning
to
go through this horrible situation, and and I feel good about it, because I feel like, well, then and I have a disability insurance because of that, and I have which doesn't cover suicide. Disability insurance.
It's unfortunate, but my suicide, which is always an option for me, I'm being quite sincere, but I got to wait till my dad passes, because he wouldn't be able to take it.
You wouldn't be able to take it.
I'm being sincere. My father would be so hurt. And he's a very healthy late 70s guy.
Many people would be hurt.
Oh, no, but I'm just saying, because I don't say that like glibly like suicide, but I've thought, if I am older and have, say, financially something goes bust or whatever it is, life has become unmanageable, I would also be polite about my suicide. I wouldn't jump off a building and leave it to others to clean, or perhaps somebody could witness
Somehow
it.
tidy?
I would keep it tidy. You know what I mean? Pills, something like that.
Oh,
but my father can never know about it. So I have to wait. But he's hanging in there a long time. So God bless him. He's a healthy guy. But it would hurt him so terribly.
Moment to moment suffering. Like, I mean, Spalding Gray, he had terrible chronic pain and depression. And it's like, it's okay.
It should be up to the person who to choose. And what you know what I mean? It's
we're pro.
Let's call it dark forest right now. Because the thing is, there's the quality of life issue. It isn't a life if you are suffering, and if you are a person making this decision for yourself, and if it is not, say you're not leaving children behind uncared for or animals. I think you have the right to make that decision if the quality of your life has become such that it is not
unbearable,
worth it to you, that one more hour of one more day.
If you're I don't know.
No. I mean, I think it's incumbent upon the person also to try and keep it contained and respectful to your loved ones.
No, dump your ashtray.
Dump your ashtray. That's A, Maria. Put the beads away in the proper containers. Clean up the dog hair. What's it going to hurt you to Swiffer before you go? Swiffer, a cursory Clorox wipe down with the disposable or the green ones. They make green ones now. Leave a lighter carbon footprint. Then, things of that nature. Clean the toilets. Kaboom them. You spray the kaboom in with the colors. The change color. You flush it. Keep it clean. That's what I'm saying. I would. And I also want to go back to what you're saying about a victim of show business. I agree with you. This is an elective thing. I didn't want to. Don't misunderstand me. I'm not complaining about show business. We elect to do this. So it's I'm not saying poor me. I'm just saying pragmatically speaking.
Yes.
It can be. It does hurt my feelings anyway. Some people are thicker skinned than I am. That all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be the lead in anything. I'm not trying to have my own show. Nothing. No. I just would like to work in a business I would like to work in.
Yes.
Which, acting. I enjoy it and I would like to do it, preferably in New York where I live. I'd love to walk to work. And I don't care if it's like a tiny, that's all I'm saying, just to work and support oneself, because it is important for anyone. Obviously, this is a very simplistic thing. No matter what your line of work is or where you come from when you're walking, structure and work is important to you.
Yes.
And no matter what it is that you do, for your sense of self and integrity, to have a place to go every day, to know that you want to do a good job, whatever it is, but you have the alarm goes off for a reason in the morning, and you have somewhere to be. You can financially support yourself. That's anybody. It doesn't matter what the vocation is. That's what I'm saying. What hurts me is the fear of, boy, it's not up to me at all. I can't force people, to hire me. I can't even force people to allow me to audition for them. Just to throw my hand. I just want access to opportunity. I don't expect anyone to give me a part out there. I don't expect anyone to give me a big part. That's not what I'm talking about.
Which is why your friends who are super successful or who continue to, and then now have these huge projects, that you don't say the reason they still have dinner with you is because every time you see them, you don't go, hey, I
don't say anything.
Can I be a spear holder in the back?
I would never do that. I would never do that. It would be embarrassing for both of us, but it's still embarrassing for both of us that they need not ask me how it's going. They're quite aware, and also what hurts me is there's certain projects that certain friends who are doing quite well do, where all our other friends are in them.
Okay,
I'm not. And now, granted, there's not a lot of parts for the ladies who, unless it's the ingenue part, or I got to wait till I'm Betty White's age so I can say terribly immoderate scatological things. And I like to do that to the older ladies. Have them say terrible things.
Have them be tackled.
and fall down. So I guess when I'm in AARP, I could do that. But the thing is there's plenty of parts that shouldn't be gender specific, right? There's tons of parts that I say this to my managers and agents all the time. Can I go in and audition for that guy part? It doesn't matter. There's no reason. It's fine. And the writer need not change a word. It can still be exactly the same. So the name is Paul. Make it Paula. I don't care. That's weird. It seems like you're asking for the moon to say, can I read for this part of the guy?
We pictured a white guy in this, and you're just like, but a black man could.
And they're actually more willing to cross colors than they are genders.
But still unwilling. I mean,
it's a fist fight for people of color, no doubt, and females of color forget it.
So they've
it's
crazy
really
ass,
difficult.
It's completely
or light skin. If you're dark skinned, this is just a fact, man. If you are a person of color who is dark and don't have Anglo features, then you, and female especially. I mean, there's a reason the cafe au lait black women with straight hair do better than with natural hair and darker complexions.
Skin,
And for the males, there's more leeway, as there is in everything in all walks of life, in any job. Men can be all shapes and sizes and ages. And as you know, like there'll be male stars. Let's say Tom Cruise, right? In an ad for his latest movie, there's always a new girl, right? Sitting next to him, there's always a newer, younger girl, but the man stays the same. Doesn't matter how old they are, and they're still romantically involved.
Yeah.
But there's always good, and Scorsese's even said that out loud when he was talking about that movie with Leo DiCaprio and Mark Wahlberg. It's very Alec Baldwin, The Departed, which is a great film. But in the making of, I was watching. He said, "I wanted a new girl. Someone fresh." So what he's saying is I want somebody new to fantasize about, look at. I need a new girl, a young girl. But the guys, I'll keep using the same ones. It doesn't matter how old they are.
Right.
Yeah.
But
because they're his friends.
But also, that's just the thing. It's not about what you know what I mean. Who's the best for the part or whatever. It's about for the females anyway. It's who's the best looking for the part. Who's the youngest for the part, not who's the best for the part.
But do you have and this goes back to beating.
Yes. Thank God. Thank God.
The self-empowerment, if this is our bead store,
right,
and we're here at our beading tables,
and it is,
to make our own stuff.
I have tried that avenue. I have gone down many times too. I have pitched. I have written. I've done other things. I don't have the stomach for those meetings.
Yeah, no,
that's not me. I'm not. I don't have a fire in the belly for it. I'm not. And also, it's just compromise. I believe me. I've been down that road.
Yeah.
And the thing is I don't need to make my own thing. Like I said, I'm just trying to work.
Want to work?
Let me stress again, number 14, 15 on the call sheet, if that makes sense. Anyway. It's like, so far down on the cast list. Bring your own jeans from home. I'm fine with that. I don't need to make my own show, but I have tried that, and I have pitched to all and sundry, just to give myself a role in said thing, and which isn't the lead role either. I don't. You know what I mean? I would like to write on it and be on it.
Airport cop, right here.
Hey, I used to be the airport cop du jour. I used to be offer only airport cop with sexually ambiguous, unforgiving pants.
Unforgiving pants. That is exactly.
And the law enforcement pants are unforgiving.
Could you write possibly a book called Unforgiving Pants?
No, I just would rather read a book than write one, and I'd rather bead and go walking. I do. I think I would have a podcast if I had the stomach for that too. But I feel like I can't even get it together to do a podcast because everyone I have. No, I do not.
Okay.
There's a fake me on a website and a fake me twittering. I don't have any web presence at all. But there's fake people. I don't know why.
Is there a place where if people wanted to go see you live, is there a list?
I guess that no. No, I have no web presence.
So they would have to essentially call your dad.
No, he doesn't know either. He thinks I'm doing bigger jobs than that.
Right, exactly.
He's not talking about. He doesn't know I'm at Eastville Comedy Club every Thursday through Saturday in New York.
Every Thursday through Saturday.
Yeah, it's because right by my house. He thinks I'm working.
Right.
My father would be shocked to know how little I actually
wander the streets and look for Janeane Garofalo when she is performing because it's awesome. What's going to be happening? Is there something you could plug? Is there anything you could plug for June and July or any of that?
Well,
stand-up-wise?
I have stand-up shows, but I guess I could say the most consistent thing is because Eastville's like right near my apartment. I'm usually at Eastville Comedy Club on East 4th Street every Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
And the stand usually in New York on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays.
Oh my God!
But I have been doing road stuff with Dave Hill a lot recently.
Okay.
And
Dave Hill, friend of the show.
Dave Hill, fantastic guy.
Always a treat.
And I have honestly, I have written another pilot idea that I have done some pitches. I just don't have the stomach for it.
I know,
and it's an idea I like very much, but I'm totally willing to roll over and say, all right, no, you don't want to do it. And then I did a couple pilots that may or may not get picked up that I was acting in.
Okay.
But, most pilots don't get picked up. Yeah. No, I'm thrilled that I did those two pilots. One was Jim Gaffigan's pilot, and then another was with Paul Sorvino where I play his daughter.
Awesome.
Oh, my God.
And
you're on fire.
You're on fire.
No, most people make pilots and 90% of them don't get picked up. It's
But I've never done a pilot.
I've never done a pilot.
I've been fired from more pilots than you kids. Since you kids were in short pants, I've been getting fired from pilots.
Janeane Garofalo, Maria Bamford. It's been an hour. Thanks for tuning in.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?